Hey everybody, it's your girl Self Carrie here, back with another empowerment astrology video. These are videos that I am bringing to you to help you understand how I use astrology to empower literally every part of my life. I use astrology to help me make decisions in my relationships. I use astrology to help me make health decisions, to make career decisions, business decisions, to heal trauma that I see is in my chart and in my life, even travel decisions. I use astrology, and I have quite an abundant life, and that is all really because I have used my chart to make certain decisions or help me make certain decisions. Astrology has not let me down yet, I have to say, and there's still more life to go, so I'm sticking with it. So today I am doing a different type of video today, because today's video I'm going to talk about two of the most important periods that you will experience in your life, and that is the Saturn Return and the Saturn Opposition. I have a lot of notes today, so I'm going to be looking down quite a bit, but that's just because this is a really heady topic, and I really want you to get the gist of what this is about. Empowerment astrology is all about empowering yourself with the knowledge that's in your chart about the cycles that are going on in your life. And so we're not making decisions based on emotions or traumas from the past. We're making decisions on what the cards that we've been dealt at that certain time, what cycle of life we're in, and looking from it from an empowered place of what am I working with instead of what don't I have, So the Saturn Return and the Saturn Opposition, two of the most important periods in your life. Now, why is Saturn such a big deal? I actually think knowing your North Node, which is your soul purpose, and knowing where your Saturn is on your chart are honestly the two most important things. And that's when I'm talking about empowerment astrology. Like if you're wanting to make a strategic plan for your life, these are the two most important things I believe that you should know about. Why is Saturn such a big deal? Because Saturn represents the lessons that you came here to learn. So many people I do astrology readings with are like, what did I come here to do? What is my purpose? What is the meaning of it? What is the lesson I'm supposed to learn? It's Saturn. Saturn basically represents what you signed up for to be the thing that you will be constantly learning about, the thing that you will be perpetually in school for. So imagine yourself just being in school. You have this idea that you're going to get a degree eventually, but in the meantime, you're constricted to that chair, and you're there and you're learning and you're being an apprentice. You're willing to be an apprentice. So for instance, if you have Saturn in the 7th house, okay? The 7th house is the house of intimate partnerships. This means that you will be perpetually learning about relationships in your life. And so you will be someone who has many different relationships, and each one teaches you something different. The relationships will be a big part of your life. And eventually, because it's Saturn wants you to be successful at that thing. It wants you to become a master at that thing eventually. So eventually you will become a master at relationships, but you have to go through many different constrictions and challenges in order to learn those lessons. Just like if you're training for an Olympic medal, you have to go through the trials and tribulations to become a master at that thing. Let's talk about if Saturn is in your 2nd house. That's another example. The 2nd house represents our wealth, our finances, our stability, our security, as well as our values and what we value and how we value ourselves. If you have Saturn in the 2nd house, guaranteed you are somebody that grew up with some sort of scarcity model that was presented to you early on. Wealth and finances is a big part of your life in terms of what you are striving for. You're constantly at odds with it. You have a perception of it that's not healthy. This means that you will have, you came here to master money, and you came here to master what it means to be valuable to yourself, whether that means having money or not. Now, how does Saturn make you a master? It creates obstacles. It creates challenges. You came here to learn this thing, and you learn by repetition and experience. That's how anybody learns, right? So this is why everybody's so, afraid of Saturn, because it's like, oh God, repetition and experience, But I do want you to think of Saturn as your little pot of gold. because once you go through those things, you become a master at it. And that's when you get to go pick up your check. Okay. So the first time we experience these challenges is the Saturn return. This occurs around roughly 27 to 30 years old. Around that time, it's when life starts to become hard and difficult, and it makes you work for it. Now, arguably, people have said life was harder before 27. Like, it wasn't like life was a piece of cake before 27, but 27 to 30 is when we start to recognize why, like, for the first time, I just can't lose weight just by running around the block and eating Cheetos, okay? Or for the first time, I'm not gonna get that job just on my charm alone. I have to show that I have some skills. For the first time, I'm in competition with other people, and I have to develop something about myself that gives me an edge, that puts me above. So it's not so much that, it's more about, this is where we develop the skills that we need to take on this challenge. Everything is hard, everything is difficult, and Saturn makes you work for it, basically. The next time we experience Saturn is the Saturn opposition. Now, we also have Saturn squares and along the way, okay? But the next major time that you experience Saturn is the Saturn opposition, and this occurs when you're 44 years old. Now, in astrological terms, this is called the Saturn opposition. In regular life, we call this the midlife crisis. And why do we call it a crisis, to be honest? Because really all it means is that where your Saturn is transiting is directly opposite your natal Saturn. So if you were to take a look at it, like say you're on a football field, you would basically be looking at the goal at the other end of the field. And what Saturn is trying to do for you at 44 years old is like turn your attention back to the goal, basically. What do you have to do to get down that field? What strategies are you going to have to put in place? What plan? Also, what things are you going to have to take out of your life? What things are you going to have to give up so that you can make this goal a priority for yourself yet again? Between the ages of 27 and 44, we may have turned our back on our dreams. We may have had experiences that made us not believe in ourselves. And so 44 comes around and Saturn's like, nope, it's still here. It's always been here. And I want you to start putting in the real work to get down the field, basically. So it is different from a Saturn return in that the Saturn return is about the return of the original lesson, the original thing that you came here for. But the Saturn opposition is like, hey, let's look back at what you came here to do and let's start clearing the pathway for you to get there. So what can you change in your life to get you back on track? That's basically what the Saturn opposition is. Now, I'm going to give you a little private story about me because I am going through my Saturn opposition right now, which is why this is such a big topic for me and why I keep getting clients who are also going through this. This is what happens when you're an astrologer, I think, is that your clients are teaching you at the same time that you're teaching them. So my story, my Saturn is in the sign of Leo, and it's in the 10th house of career. Now, what is Leo energy? Leo energy is about self-expression, being flamboyant, showing yourself, being in the spotlight, shining your light. And the 10th house is about career, public success, being a public person and being successful. It doesn't necessarily mean famous and all that other stuff. It just means that you are successful at the thing that you do. So my biggest challenge in life has been expressing my creative gifts, that Leo stuff, right? And becoming successful for it. So since I was 14 years old, I wanted to be a screenwriter. You will literally, if you looked in my high school yearbook, under my senior picture, you will see me saying, I want all of the stories in my head to make it to the silver screen. That's literally what I wanted to do since I was 14 years old. And I started doing that. I went to NYU, I moved out to New York, and I went into NYU to study screenwriting. A lot of things got in the way of me being able to finish school. I kept having to leave and work full time and then go back and then leave, and all these things happen. So around 27 years old, I was back in school. But something that was different was that I noticed that I started having obstacles to living this dream. I didn't take opportunities. I was getting asked to work on films, but I didn't network with any of the staff or the crew. I told nobody about my scripts. I was literally in the room with Robert De Niro once, And he asked me what I was studying at NYU, and I like ignored him. Okay. I could not understand for the life of me why the hell I would do that. Why am I turning down opportunities to shine my light? It's because I was in my Saturn return. The Saturn was constricting that Leo energy, and it was also making me, have to work harder, because Saturn is basically saying, you got to just work harder. But I didn't know that at the time. So fast forward to last year, 2020, I turned 44 in August. And I took an inventory of my life. I had run a successful video production company at that time. I had run a successful jewelry design business. I had run a successful gluten-free baked good delivery service. And now I was a successful full-time astrologer. Are you noticing a pattern here? I was successful at everything but what I originally wanted to do, which was to become a screenwriter. So the reason why Saturn is so hard is that if we run into challenges, sometimes we'll feel rejected by our own dreams, and we'll start to question if we even deserve that dream, if we're even good enough, and we back away from it. So Saturn just wants us to work harder and believe in ourselves. And at 27 years old, I just didn't, I didn't have that tool yet. I had to go through some more things. And that's why the Saturn opposition comes back around at 44 years old. It's like life is saying, this is your last chance to do the thing that you always wanted to do. Now's the time to clear out the things that are keeping you from doing what you want to do, and prioritize your own dreams again, and basically go for it. I know it's cliche, but yeah, basically go for it. So this is exactly what happened to me. Last year, I was living a good life in Marin County, very successful full-time astrologer. I had been planning to move to Venice Beach part-time and expand my astrology business down there. And in the back of my mind, I definitely thought, oh, I'll be near Hollywood. Maybe somebody will want to read one of my scripts. But I definitely wasn't like putting that out there as something I would actually do. I didn't make it a priority. And then COVID happened and we had to quarantine. And then up here in Northern California, the wildfires happened and I couldn't even go outside due to the air quality. I got the sickest I think I have ever gotten reacting to those wildfires. I literally felt like there were rocks under my eyelids. I couldn't breathe. I thought something was growing in my throat. All of this made me realize that I can't live in this area anymore if I'm having these kind of reactions. And these fires will come every year for at least a decade because of the drought that California's been in. So I finally had to ask myself, if California is off the table, where would you be right now? And the first thought was I would be in Vancouver, attending Vancouver Film School and learning how to become a screenwriter. It's amazing how the universe works, right? So I never would have left California if not for COVID and the wildfires. So is this a midlife crisis, right? Only if you make it one. Basically, I call it a midlife reset. And because I'm an astrologer, my chart can tell me exactly how to go along, what to do next to take full advantage of this midlife reset. So let me know in the comments what happened to you during your Saturn return. What happened to you during your Saturn opposition? Let me know, and let the people know who haven't gone through those things yet. Basically, we could all learn from each other here. That would be 27 and 44 years old. And if you're going through either one of these periods right now, get a reading with me and I'll show you how to get through it. So this video has gone long enough. I had a lot of notes. Thank you for listening so I could get through it. Stay tuned to stay tuned to my videos. I'm going to be sharing a lot more with you in the future, and a big transition coming up as I make my move up to Vancouver to start school in May. But I wanted to share that with you. So in the meantime, take care.